Morning guys, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training in Guapo. Come on, Guapo. Come on, Guapo. You ready? Up. Good boy, good. That's my boy. Good. There you go. Good. There you go. There he is. Good boy. Licked your chops right away, didn't you? You heard the click and his tongue went lick, lick. Yeah. Good boy, good. Here you go. Good boy, Guapo. Good boy, good. All right, so Guapo's main problem right now is one, he needs to learn some more behaviors. He sits at the side, he understands what with me means, but he hasn't got much more than that. He's also very kind of lazy and lackadaisical, so we need to increase his speed in doing things. How do you do that? How do you increase speed? It's not always guaranteed, but in a general sense, it's about the dog's mental attitude in the work and what you do to take things and understand your manipulation of drives, right? So we call it drives, but emotional states of mind. He's just kind of, he's not sad sack, he's just, I don't give a shit, right? Whoa, yep, good one, good, yay! So we need to get him happy. So that tells me I'm probably gonna need, food's working, he understands the concepts, but we need to increase his speed and all that, so we need to get him higher up in drive and increase that. How would you do that? How would you increase the dog's drive? Voice tones one way, get it, dude. Gas, right? A lot more. Yeah, good boy, good. Yeah, good boy, good. Yeah, good boy. Look at the tail. Look at the tail go. Yay, good boy. You did the Guapo. You did the Guapo, huh? You did the tail go. Look at that tail go. Yay. So, that's one way. What's another way? Toys. Let's get him high on toys and see if I can get him. Nope, nope. He's got to learn not to go to the ground. Good. So toys is what we're going to bring into it, and trying to get him happier and bring up drive and get him happier in the work, which will give us everything if we get his drive level up, right? Hup, hup. Remember what I always say, you are the one that's in direct control of his drive states. We usually always start with food, then we go to toy. There's some aversive that's involved, teaching him he can't avoid it, he's got to come up, and then you praise him into it. So with him, he's going to have a little aversive because of his attitude. His attitude is, I don't give a hoot. Well, what are you going to do? You can't, if he's not happy and doesn't want to come in to drive, he's not really a drivey type of dog like a Dutch Shepherd or a Malinois, then you've got to do it another way. We've got to try to increase that. Yep. A good example of why I have my explosion release and why I bounce around with a lot of enthusiasm in the work, because I'm trying to get the dog's drive level up. Yep, good boy, good, yeah, good boy. There you go, good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start bringing out tugs and start getting him interested in playing tug with me, and use that to go towards our higher drive states, right? Yep. Good boy, good. Because obviously the dog understands the basics now. He's following lure, he's spinning, see it? Okay? But his head's not where I want it. I want him a little happier and a lot more exuberance, right? That's drive state, right? I want him happier and a lot more exuberant and driving in the work. Not always the easiest thing to do, depending on the dog and what he's got in his background. That's why it's so important, guys, to work puppies and imprint these attitudes, these emotional states of mind when they're young, so you have that to work out with when they get older, right? If you don't do anything with dogs except let him lay around the house as a sack of potatoes, and his drive state's always just so blasé, he's already imprinted with his emotional states of mind involved with things, right? And that's nobody's fault but your own. It's not the dog, it's you. And then you go to a trainer. I'll talk about a little bit these Mastiffs I've been getting lately. You have the Cane Corso that was brought to me a few weeks ago. I ended up doing all the training, and I had him for close to 3 weeks, and I realized this dog is going to take 90 days. He should have been with me for 90 days, but it's all about cost, expenses. Some people can't afford that, right? I charge money for what I do. Yep, good boy, yeah, come on, good, let's go, good boy. So that being the case, I knew in my mind that I was doing a great job with that dog. That dog had all kinds of development towards the right direction, but going back home with his owners, he's just going to backslide, go right back in. They don't understand how to handle the dog of that stature, right? And I was doing a lot of things that are risky because I've been doing it for so long. No muzzle, being exact with my correction, coming in heavy and really correcting and actually putting myself at risk because this dog could have torn me up any time. Large Cane Corso with a pretty stout demeanor. Well, I took that dog back home to the owner and did the delivery demo and was working with him in the park. Come on. Come on. Good boy, good. And paying attention to the owner, I wasn't paying attention to what was going on around me as much. And there was a dog way across the park, a pretty good distance. And we had been about probably almost close to an hour working. And so the dog was already kind of tired, burnt out, and ready to say F off, right? And a dog that he saw way across the way, he went off on. It was a silhouette of, it was a Malamute, a Husky, whatever Nordic breed it was. And so he saw that tail set, saw that silhouette from across the way and went ape shit. And he basically, I was in boots at the time, and I was going from pinch collar because it works better in certain instances, and then the choke chain that's going to catch that dog. And I had a choke chain on him I was using as a dominant dog collar. And because I didn't see it, the dog wound up and his owner was there and he was excited. First day going back to his owner, and he was kind of burned out on the backside of the training, ready to F you type thing. So when I started correcting the dog was on a pinch. And one of the worst things you can have happen to you with this type of breed, or a lot of different breeds, Pitty's a really good example of it, and other breeds, the pinch collar does not work as well. If anything, it actually increases aggression when you're trying to use it to correct the animal. And the reason is because it's an aggravating pain, and this dog's mental state of mind, being a mastiff or being a pitty breed, will go higher and escalate in aggression when you're trying to hang the dog up and take his air away. This ain't going to take the air away. This will take the air away if it's in the right spot on his neck and I can choke the dog out. Once the air is gone, it's a very different reaction. It's kind of like if you didn't know how to swim and you had fear in you when you're swimming. That natural reaction is always going to be the same for you as a human being dealing with drowning, right? And right away you can't fight natural psychology in regards to how you're dealing with it. And so then you start fighting. And a lifeguard jumps off the diving board and comes over to save you. And you end up trying to fight him or her because you're so panicked, right? So in other words, your natural reaction is very similar in a lot of different instances. So the same thing with these guys. If you're trying to correct them with a pinch collar, it's kind of like taking a glass of, and doing a Boilermaker and having a glass of whiskey and dropping it into the beer, and it boils up. It's a natural evolution and a reaction to that happening. The same thing with his pinch. Natural reaction to that happening. Well, I have the pinch collar on him, and I was trying to deal with this dog coming at me being aggressive, and I hung him up and I started doing what we call a helicopter, and it wasn't conducive to this. It only made it worse. And with his owner being there, he was already excited. The dog basically ate me up. The only thing I had going for me, and a lot of people don't understand this, is if a dog has not been taught to bite, and they get in a dog fight or whatever it may be, depending on the dog and the breed, etc., they're not going to grab and go deep into the mouth and grab and hold on. It's a lot of noise. A lot of noise, and teeth are going everywhere, and it seems very traumatic. It really is. There's a lot of noise, but a lot of people don't realize a lot of times all that is noise, and there's really not heavy damage done because of the fact the dog hasn't learned to bite. If a dog learns to bite, like if I had been teaching that dog from a puppy how to bite properly, and he lunged in and friggin' did a crunch bite on me, I'd be done. I had little nicks all over my arms, all over the place. There was blood everywhere. Fell down on the ground. Ended up getting the owner to take him away from me, but he nipped me in the eye almost, you know. I mean, there was teeth everywhere, but all it was okay? So the dog, luckily, had never been taught to bite right, and there was no proficiency, and it was just a lot of noise and a lot of body coming at me. It scared the hell out of me. I slipped and fell on the ground because I had boots on. And so I had no traction. I was on this grass, and I slipped and fell. Put me at a disadvantage. And then I didn't have the dog on a choke chain where I could take the wind away from him and then not have that illicit pain reaction that was causing it to get worse. The reason I'm telling you this story is to make you understand that anything can happen to you in working dogs. If you have been working dogs for any length of time and you tell me you have not been bit, you haven't been doing anything, right? So we're always going to have time where we end up facing a situation where we may get bit, right? There's a famous saying in dog training, or I say it all the time, won't be the first and it won't be the last. If you're messing with this is your trade, you're gonna get bit. Sooner or later, you're gonna get nipped, and there is a rule that I always have, and I try to teach my young guys coming with me and doing mentorship or whatever, I always try to teach them. And anytime something like that happens, it's always my fault, never the dog's fault. Why is that? Always my fault, never the dog's fault. There's something that I did wrong to cause that problem to happen, or not to be prepared for it, and not to be set up properly, where you end up getting bit, you end up getting nailed. And I learned that from a very young age when I was out in Oakland working at that training firm, and I was living on property in the out back of the kennel, and I lived there for 2 years, eat, breathe, and sleep dogs. I learned real quick when things would happen like that, that it's never the dog's fault, it's always mine, and I look to learn and grow with every instance, right? With every instance, I try to learn and grow. So me giving you this feedback is all about that, right? It's all about you learning and understanding, because things happen. I'm not perfect, I'm a human being. I wish I was omnipotent, you know, or if I cut my videos and was like other people I know that were perfect in their digital magic and color code and color, and which is admirable, don't get me wrong, but you know me, I do my videos raw, right? I don't edit, don't do anything, I just show you what I'm doing, and I yak at the screen a lot to try to teach, to try to educate either my customers and or those of you that want to become a professional. I've been doing it 30 years. I started when I was about 12. It's been my whole life, and I'm pretty good at what I do. So that being the case, I love to teach. That's what you do when you train dogs. You're not just teaching the dog behaviors and all that. You're educating your customers, teaching them what's going on with training, but more so the reason that I like an in-kennel training program versus giving classes and all that, which I can. We might start a group class here pretty quick. But in a general sense, it allows me, with my experience level and understanding of the dog, to get in the dog's head, to be able to evaluate that and give the customer the best answers for them to overcome problems, right? But they still got to get off the couch, they still got to do the work, because the dog respects everybody as an individual. If you have 5 people in the house, he's going to respect one person differently than the other. The man usually has a deeper voice and a little bit more commanding force, has a little bit more respect out of the dog than a woman, right? A woman want to coddle the dog and get frustrated, and their reactions are totally different. And the dogs usually, in general, there's always exceptions to the rule, are going to respect the man in the family more than the female. Not always true. Some of the best trainers out there are females, so you can see the difference when you got some knowledge and expertise, that changes, right? Good boy. Yep, good boy, good. All right, so that's my yak session for today. Right now, I've got another Borbell, another aggressive Mastiff breed that I've got at home, and most of the problem with that, I'm going to tell you a little bit more. I'm going to go ride to Tractor Supply with these 2 dogs when I get done, and I'm going to do a yak session. We're going to talk about the Mastiff breed and some of the things that I've been facing in dealing with those guys. So stay tuned for that. I'll have them posted sometime by the end of the day. There'll probably be 2 or 3 videos hitting up. All right, Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training with Guapo. Yeah, good boy, Guapo, good boy, yeah. Who I've got to get more drive in. So I've got to increase his drive. We're going to bring toys into it, see if I can get him really being happy, and then get him his drive level up, so that gives me positive energy, right? If he's in a good mood, he's positive, he's going to learn faster, easier, better, and you can do a lot more things with him. If he's lackadaisical and he's flat, it's a lot harder to get a dog to learn things and to be receptive to the training, right? That's why it's so important to have a good relationship with a dog, all right? Good boy. Remember, Guapo, as far as personality, when he first came, was very insecure, very fearful of everything, because the owners had over-coddled the dog. Now this dog is starting to fence fight with other dogs, coming out of the kennel. He's a lot more sure of himself. He just jumped in the back of the truck yesterday, and now he's able to do that. So confidence is coming. Speaking of which, I'm going to end this right now by going over all the stuff that will take an agility run, huh, Guapo? That's another thing, stamina. Bring up stamina, give him more exercise. That's going to bring up your drive as well, because the dog's not all lazy. All right, Mark Ferrasci, ProTech Dog Training, and Guapo. Come here, Guapo. Come here, Guapo. We're going to sign off, buddy. Come on, Guapo. So that's my goals for this next 2 weeks of training program that he's got left. I'm going to end up trying to do my best to increase, drive, right? Good. Down. See how slow he goes down and everything? So lackadaisical, everything's slow. We got to bring that up. Drive state is how we're going to do it. Going to toys. All right, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, and Guapo. Nope. Nope. Down. Good. Good. Now I'm going to watch a little closer, because if he does something once, he's invariably going to do it again. All right, Mark Ferrasci, Protect Dog Training, and Guapo. Talk to you later.